Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to our daily Bible videos. My name's Sarah. Today we're looking at the Gospel of Luke, chapter 20, starting at verse 27 and going through to verse 40. Now, the whole of this week we've been thinking and talking about how Jesus is in these kind of final few events leading up to his death and later his resurrection. And we've been thinking about how there's been this kind of building tension amongst some of the religious leaders and this sense of them trying to catch Jesus out and see whether he's going to make any mistakes that are going to mean that they're going to be able to kind of out him as not really being the Messiah. And I wonder whether when we get to this passage, this is a little bit of what's going on with this group of Sadducees. They go to Jesus and they kind of spin him this story about this woman who's married this man and then another man and another man, and asks Jesus this kind of quite meaty, quite tricky question about whose wife this woman will be when there has been the resurrection of the dead. And Jesus gives some really interesting views on what he thinks is going to happen in terms of marriage and relationships generally in the new heaven when there has been the resurrection of the dead. And he kind of says there's not going to be marriage. There's some interesting stuff I might put in the comments about why I think Jesus might have said that. But really, Jesus gets to the heart of the issue here. So it says right at the beginning of the passage that there's this group of Sadducees who don't believe in the resurrection. And Jesus sees that even though they're asking him this question about, well, you know, whose wife will she be when there's the resurrection of the dead, he knows that they're not really trying to ask about marriage and marriage in heaven or marriage in the resurrection. They're trying to ask him about, well, how is this all going to work? If there is a resurrection, then here's all of these things that are not going to work out. And Jesus sees that that's their heart, and he goes straight to what the real question is. Will there be a resurrection of the dead? And Jesus says these really interesting words. He says, they are God's children. We are God's children because we are children of the resurrection. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And he uses the Old Testament, the scriptures, the Jewish scriptures, to show them that the God that they know is a God of the living and that there will be a resurrection from the dead. And I think in our culture today, this raises loads of questions, especially at the moment as we're still grappling with this global pandemic. Lots of people asking lots of questions about life and about death. Lots of people coming to terms with bereavement and their own vulnerability. And the good news is that Jesus has something hopeful to say about life after death. And it's not just something that he says, it's something that he wins for us later in his death and his resurrection. In the resurrection of Jesus, Jesus shows that he has power even over death. And so today we can be hopeful and we can trust God that the end of our lives here on earth are not the end, that there will be a resurrection, and that this is the hope that we can look forward to today. If you would like to know more about the Christian hope for life after death, please just contact one of us in the Facebook groups or comment on the YouTube channel. Have a really great day.